All right, let's talk about that moment, that fiery, frustrating moment when you just snap. Today, we're going to dive into exactly why our brains do that and, way more importantly, how you can get back in the driver's seat with a few simple but seriously powerful tools. So let's start with a feeling I'm pretty sure we all know. You're in the heat of an argument, maybe you're just stressed out, and bam, the words just fly out. And like a second later, that awful sinking feeling hits, and you're just wishing for a giant cosmic undo button. Yeah, we've all been there. Okay, so to get why this happens, you gotta understand that there are basically two different command centers in your brain, and sometimes the wrong one totally hijacks the microphone. So let's meet them. On one side, you've got your reactive brain. Think of it like a super jumpy guard dog. It's lightning fast, but, not always right. Then, on the other side, you've got your resilient brain. This one's more like a seasoned detective who takes a beat, looks at the evidence, and then decides what to do. So when you're in that full-on reactive mode, this little part of your brain called the amygdala just takes over. And you can think of it like a really, really sensitive smoke alarm. I mean, it's supposed to warn you about actual fires, but sometimes it just has a complete meltdown over a piece of burnt toast, flooding your whole system with stress hormones and totally shutting down all rational thought. But when your resilient brain is online, the prefrontal cortex, your own personal inner fire marshal, is in charge. This is the part of your brain that walks in, clipboard in hand, and is like, okay, people, let's just calm down, take a look at the situation, and maybe choose a response that doesn't involve flipping any tables, all right? So what is it that's basically pouring gasoline on that faulty little smoke alarm? Well, it's a very specific, very sneaky pattern of thinking that acts like a total accelerant. It's called black and white thinking. And it's basically this cognitive distortion where our brain gets a little lazy. It just sorts the entire world into two simple boxes: absolutely amazing or complete and total disaster. There's no in-between, no gray area. And what's cool is you can actually catch this thinking in the act just by listening for some key warning words. So if you hear yourself saying that someone always does something, or that a situation is the absolute worst, that is a giant flashing red flag that your faulty alarm is just blaring. And this is exactly how we turn a simple, everyday frustration, like a dirty dish in the sink, into this huge global catastrophe. This kind of thinking, it's not just wrong, it's practically designed to make us feel super anxious and totally helpless. So, if this way of thinking just makes us miserable, why on earth do our brains keep doing it? Well, it turns out that in the short term, this little mental habit has some sneaky perks. First off, it justifies you, right? If you tell yourself your partner never helps out, it instantly makes you the good guy. You're the martyr, the one who's clearly in the right. And let's be honest, it feels kind of good to be the hero of your own story, even if the story isn't 100% true. Second, it excuses you from actually doing anything. If a project at work is impossible, or a situation at home is hopeless, well then, you don't really have to put in the hard work to try and fix it, do you? It's like a get-out-of-jail-free card for making an effort. And finally, it vindicates you. There's this really weird satisfaction that comes from telling yourself you've had the worst day ever. You get to have that little internal chat like, oh, you poor thing, and it just lets you off the hook from having to be resilient. Okay, so how do we get past these short-term perks and start to empower our inner fire marshal? It all comes down to learning how to spot the early signs of a fire and then having the right tools ready to go. Your body is basically this amazing intelligence agent. It often knows you're getting triggered way before your conscious mind has a clue. So learning to notice these physical sensations, the racing heart, the tense shoulders, that gives you a crucial head start to hit the pause button before you react. So, you've spotted the smoke. Your fire marshal is awake and putting on their little helmet. Now, let's give them the tools they need to handle the situation like a total pro. This is the PAUS method. It's a really simple but powerful way to create that little bit of space between the trigger and your reaction. So you pause to notice what's happening in your body. You acknowledge the feeling without judging it. You try to understand what the real trigger is. You select a wise response, and then and only then you engage mindfully. Now, a really key tool for that select step is reframing, finding the gray area. And the both and technique is absolutely perfect for this. It lets you acknowledge that two things that seem like opposites can actually be true at the same time. It brings all that messy, important nuance back into the picture.
You can also challenge those extreme thoughts by actively looking for proof you're wrong. Like, did they really never do the dishes? Or you can get super specific. Instead of saying everything is awful, just name the one single thing that's actually bothering you. And okay, this is the tough one. You can honestly ask yourself what part you might be playing in the situation. Oof.
Look, the goal here is not to become some kind of Zen master overnight. The key is just to start small. Just pick one thing, one single recurring situation where you tend to get reactive, and just practice using these tools. Every single time you do it, you are literally building new, more resilient pathways in your brain. So, I want to leave you with a little challenge. What is one all or nothing thought you can push back on today? Where in your world can you look past the black and white and find the shades of gray, where all the messy, complicated, and much more interesting truth usually is?